Every morning, millions of us sit down at the kitchen table, pour a bowl of cereal, and look at that red heart on the front of the box. We see the words whole grain, fiber, and heart healthy. And we feel good. We feel like we're doing the right thing. We feel like we're protecting ourselves. But I need to tell you something that might make you put that spoon down. That heart on the box, it's a promise. But the nutrition label on the back, that's the contract. And right now, those two documents are in direct conflict. The front of the box sells the promise. The nutrition label tells the truth. And the truth is, some of these heart-healthy cereals are actually dessert in disguise. Today, we're going to look at why the cereal aisle is the most dangerous place for your blood sugar, how the FDA changes a few years ago exposed a massive loophole, and the specific 3 cereals you should be swapping out immediately if you want to protect your heart. I'm Marcus, and for years I've been helping seniors navigate the grocery store without getting fooled. Because here's the reality. You want to eat healthier. You want to save money, but the food companies are spending billions to make sure you don't know what's actually in the box. Let's talk about why this is so hard. You walk down that aisle and you are bombarded. High fiber, low fat, antioxidants. It's overwhelming. For most of our lives, we were taught that fat was the enemy. Remember that? In the 80 seconds and 90 seconds, everything was low fat. So food companies stripped the fat out of everything. But do you know what happens when you take the fat out of food? It tastes like cardboard. So to make it taste good again, they pumped it full of sugar. And they never really stopped. Now they hide it better. They use buzzwords. But here is the deeper problem. It's not just about your waistline. It's about your trust. You are trying to do the right thing. You are trying to follow doctor's orders to watch your heart. And when you pick up a box that says heart healthy, you are trusting that the company has your best interest at heart. They don't. They have their shareholders' interests at heart. See, the research is clear. The American Heart Association tells us that men should limit added sugar to about 36 grams a day and women to about 25 grams. That's roughly 6 to 9 teaspoons total for the whole day. When you start your morning with a healthy cereal that has 18 or 20 grams of sugar in one serving, you haven't had breakfast. You've had half a day's worth of sugar before you've even had your coffee. And that spikes your blood sugar, it crashes your energy, and over time, it puts real strain on your heart. You know, while I was preparing this video, I went a little down the rabbit hole. I started pulling the labels of every single senior marketed cereal on the shelf. The ones with the fiber claims, the ones with the for heart health stamps, and honestly, I got frustrated. I was looking at ingredient lists that looked like chemistry experiments. I saw evaporated cane juice, barley malt extract, fructose concentrate, all just code words for sugar hidden behind healthy sounding grains. I started compiling all of these tricks, the hidden sugars, misleading health claims, and label games that make grocery shopping far more confusing than it should be. Eventually, I turned it into a simple guide called the Silver Cart. It was created for seniors who want to eat healthier, spend less, and stop falling for foods that only look healthy. Inside, you'll learn how to spot the biggest grocery store traps in minutes. Read labels with confidence without overthinking every purchase. If that sounds helpful, I put the link in the description and pinned it in the comments. Go download your copy of the Silver Cart while you're thinking about it. Now, let's get back to that box in front of you, because we need to fix breakfast. Okay, here is the tool the FDA gave us a few years ago, and most people completely ignore it. It's the line that says includes XG added sugars. Before 2020, labels just listed sugars. That was it. It didn't tell you if the sugar was coming from the strawberries in the cereal, which is natural, or if it was dumped in by a factory in New Jersey. Now look at that line. If you pick up a box of bran flakes and it says total sugars 10 grams, but added sugars 0 grams, that means the sweetness is coming from the raisins or the bran itself. That is generally fine. But if you pick up a heart-healthy granola or a whole grain oat cluster and you see total sugars 14 grams and added sugars 12 grams, that is a trap. They took healthy grain and they coated it in dessert. I'm looking at a box right now. It has a big gold heart on the front. It says made with whole grains. You turn it over, serving size 1 cup, added sugars, 15 grams, 15 grams. That is more than 3 teaspoons of sugar in 1 cup. And let's be honest, who eats just 1 cup? If you pour a normal bowl, you're probably eating 1.5 cups. You just hit 23 grams of sugar. You are 1 spoonful away from maxing out your entire day's limit before 8 a.m. Because when you flood your system with sugar, your body releases insulin. That insulin spike can damage the lining of your blood vessels over time. It raises your triglycerides. It lowers your good cholesterol. You can eat all the whole grain you want, but if you're drowning it in high fructose corn syrup, you are canceling out the benefits. Let's call out the specific imposters so you know what to avoid. These are the ones that trick my smartest friends. There are famous cereals marketed as high fiber that are essentially little twigs covered in sugar frosting. Yes, you get fiber, but the sugar cost is too high. You're eating a candy bar with a multivitamin inside. There are better ways to get fiber. Granola is the biggest wolf in sheep's clothing in the entire store. It sounds earthy, it sounds natural, but granola is held together by sweeteners: honey, maple syrup, molasses. Low fat usually means high sugar. I've seen granolas with 20 grams of added sugar in a tiny third cup serving. Plain oats are a superfood. Instant oatmeal packets, often a sugar bomb. Those little peach and maple flavored packets, some have 12 to 14 grams of sugar per packet, and it's highly processed sugar that hits your blood faster than you can blink. This is the crisis point. You stand in the aisle and you realize half the stuff you've been buying is actually working against you. It feels like you can't win. Everything is processed. Everything has a label. But you can win. You just have to change your strategy. You don't need to avoid the cereal aisle. You just need to shop it like a pro. If you want a heart-healthy breakfast, you have to strip it down. We want the fiber, the protein, and the nutrients without the added sugar. 5 minutes on the stove or even in the microwave, and you have a meal. Research shows that whole grains like oats can help stabilize blood sugar and support heart health. You control the sweetness. Add some cinnamon, add some berries. That is heart healthy. No added sugars, high fiber, it fills you up. If it tastes too plain, add a sliced banana. You get natural potassium and fiber without the insulin spike. Now you have to be careful here. Some bran flakes are sugary, but if you find the original version, you're looking at about 5 grams of fiber and less than 5 grams of sugar. That is a win. Pair it with some unsweetened almond milk or regular milk, and you've got a solid start to your day. These aren't glamorous. They don't have cartoon mascots on the front, but they are the foods that actually support your heart. I want to give you a new rule for the grocery store, a simple heuristic that will save you every time. When you pick up a box, look at the ingredient list. If sugar or any of its secret code names like syrup, molasses, or words ending in "-ose" appears in the first 3 ingredients, put it back, ignore the heart stamp on the front. That's paid for. Turn the box over, check the added sugars line. If it's more than 6 or 8 grams per serving, it's a dessert, not a breakfast. When you do this, something changes. You stop being a target for marketers and you start being a consumer with power. You take control of your health. We talked about the deeper problem earlier, the feeling of betrayal. But there is a flip side to that, the feeling of empowerment. When you walk out of the store with a bag of plain oats and some real food, you are telling the food companies, you can't fool me anymore. Heart health isn't about deprivation. It's about making space for the food that actually fuels you. It's about saving your sugar budget for a piece of pie with your grandkids, not wasting it on a boring bowl of processed flakes. You have the knowledge now. You know about the added sugars line. You know the difference between the front of the box and the back. And the back. If you want to keep this momentum going and you want a reference guide for the rest of the store, not just cereal, grab the silver cart. It's available in the description. It covers the dairy aisle, the bread aisle, the frozen section. It is designed to help you eat healthier, save hundreds of dollars a month by avoiding gimmicks, and never get fooled by a label again. It's time to take the confusion out of grocery shopping.